Here's your disinformation. Now Psaki is claiming that Trump started Biden's thought police board. Well, there's been such a backlash from it. They had to put, they always put stuff on Trump when when stuff hits the fan. That's the only thing they can do. They can either say it's racist or they say it's Trump fault. Before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my merch store where I have Let's Go Brandon t-shirts, I Will Not Comply t-shirts, so check those out. And there's also a link to my mental health coaching and consultation page. If you're someone that's suffering from mental health issues, depression, anxiety, I can help you cope with those. I can teach you different coping skills and how to manage those issues. All right, so let's talk about this news. Is this some of that disinformation that Biden administration is talking about? Jen Psaki on Friday twice claimed that the Biden administration's Orwellian and ominous new disinformation governance board isn't really new at all. And in fact, it was started not by old Joe or his DHS hatchet man, Alejandro Mayorkas, but by one Donald J. Trump. You can't make this stuff up. The Psaki delivered this whopper with the clear tone of, what are y'all, what are you racist, redneck, MAGA hat wearing yahoos getting all upset about? This was all your guys' idea. She offered no evidence, and there doesn't seem to be any for her to have offered. Psaki said this under question from Fox's Jackie Henrich, who noted that both Mayorkas and Psaki had expressed some unfamiliarity with the bizarre fascists who will be heading up the Ministry of Truth. Nina Jackowitz, sorry, chopping her name up. But Henrich asked Psaki, quote, how was she hired if you in the White House are not familiar with her and Mayorkas is not familiar with her statements? What's the process for putting her into a position like this, and who's in charge of hiring her? That's a great question, indeed. Although it's clear that Jankowicz, who bills herself on her website as, quote, an internationally recognized expert on disinformation, is an enthusiastic proponent of government censorship who has been preparing for this job her entire professional life. You know what I'm saying? So now they try to say, "Oh, well, we don't know." I mean, this is the administration. This is the Biden administration in a nutshell, right here. She then launched into a potted history of Janukowicz's career. She said, "Well, let me give you a sense of who she is. She's an expert on online disinformation. She was formerly in the Wilson Center of Disinfo. She was formerly a disinformation fellow at the Wilson Center. She testified before Congress as well as the United Kingdom and European Parliament, advised the Ukrainian foreign minister, particularly relevant in this moment, under the auspices of Fulbright Public Policy Fellowship and overseeing Russia and Belarus programs at the National Democratic Institute. Any hiring decisions are up to the Department of Homeland Security, but this is a person with extensive qualifications. What I will tell you about the board and what the board is doing, this is a continuation of work and began at the Department of Homeland Security in 2020 under former President Trump." And again, she gives no evidence of this. Like, we're gonna take anything that Jen Psaki says at face value because she'll tell you a bold face lie right to your face, and then look at you like, yeah, like, which, yeah, I know I'm lying, but what you gonna do about it? It's crazy. But Henry followed up with the question about Jankowicz's video in which she tells people not to vote for those who supposedly spread disinformation. And Psaki responded by claiming again that the board was, quote, again, a continuation of the work of former president. So for anyone who's critical of it, I don't hear them being critical of the work under the former president, which is just interesting to note contextually. She went on to explain that the board would fight misinformation spreading by human smugglers, which she said was work begun in the Trump administration and added semi coherently. Quote, this is also work that is helping to address the unauthorized terrorism, other threats, and see how disinformation and misinformation is being pushed to lead to increase those. Like that statement made absolutely no sense. That was just a word salad. Well, now wait a minute. Politico revealed the existence of the board on Wednesday. It said that the Department of Homeland Security was, quote, standing up a new disinformation governance board. The standing up uh, location is strange, but new is a fairly unambiguous word. If the board is new, it's not a continuation of a Trump administration initiative. Mayorkas confirmed this on Thursday, saying, quote, we have just established a mis and disinformation governance board in the Department of Homeland Security. He didn't say anything about continuing work begun under Trump administration either. So you got two people right there saying, one saying it's new and the other one saying that the other one saying they just established it, meaning now currently they just did it. Also, it's a matter of simple common sense. Imagine if the Trump administration really had established some entity that was meant to combat disinformation amid all the left's hysterical propaganda about Trump being a fascist. Who was bent on destroying our democracy? Do you really think that we would only be hearing about this 15 months after Trump left office? That he had established a board to police speech. Come on, man. We know that this is bull crap. They would have leaked this just like they leaked the Ukraine phone call. But the news would have shouted it from every rooftop. Chris Cuomo and Brian Stelter and Rachel Maddow would have spent weeks warning us about this threat to our democracy, while the New York Times and Washington Post would have run feature after feature about how authoritarian rulers always claim that speech that opposes their agenda is disinformation. Search the net for Disinformation Governance Board, and you'll find stories all about this new board that Biden handlers have just created. If there's any truth to Psaki's claim, and there is no indication that there is, the Trump era entity went by another name and was so far from being a ministry of truth or thought police that not even the leftist media, always avid for anything they could hang around Trump's neck, made anything of it. It strains credulity well beyond the breaking point. Miss Psaki, you have been found guilty of disinformation. Please report to Miss Jackowitz for re-education. But let me know what you think about all this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.